After waking up as the vicious, supporting female lead, I decided to stay far away from that gloomy villain because for the next 5 years, we would be locked in a love-hate struggle. He hated that I forced my love on him while I resented that his heart already belonged to someone else. But when I kept my distance at this moment, the reclusive teenage villain suddenly grabbed my clothes, his ears turning bright red, his voice stumbling. Classmate Sue, can I sleep with you? If I don't sleep, I'll die. Bullet comments suddenly floated past before my eyes. I'm dying laughing. The villain has contracted an illness that can only be kept in check through intimate contact with the female supporting character. So it's still up in the air who's forcing, whom I declare. This the greatest illness ever given to an autistic person. Stay silent if you want, but the moment you open your mouth, it's bang. Bang, bang. If you don't bang, I'll die right in front of you. What a deliciously Yandra setup. The day she met Jang Yuchuan was at a bar at the time. I was heartbroken because my childhood sweetheart didn't like me. When I saw Jang Yuchuan, I thought he was a new male model hired by the bar. Without saying a word, I pulled him into the private room. The people in the private room started jeering, and Jang Yuchuan was left standing there in a daze. He stubbornly tried to break free from me, his brows furrowed and anger on his face. Let me out. I cornered him, bracing, my arm beside him. One hand slid suggestively over his chest. The subordinate's hands trembled a little. The faint aloofness turned into a slight, fine tremor. I'm not. I pulled out a bank card and pressed it against his lips, making him hold it between them. Have a drink with me, and I'll give you all the money. Her friends, Jared. Yeshu. You're really willing to die beneath the peony blossoms and still be a romantic ghost. Handsome. You just got dumped today. Take good care of her, and we'll give you another sum of money. I found it too noisy, so I drove everyone away, pushing Jang Yuchan back onto the sofa. His hair was thick and dark, falling immediately over his eyes. A pair of Japanese-style narrow-framed, black-rimmed glasses concealed his beautiful eyes. I grabbed Jang Yuchuan by the collar and pressed a bottle of liquor against his lips. I was just about to force it down his throat. Then a row of glowing words suddenly appeared before my eyes. Here it comes. Here it comes. The vicious female supporting character is about to force the big villain. The drink has been drugged. The male lead didn't show up, and it just so happened to be forced into the villain's hands. Tonight, the two of them will ignite like dry tinder meeting fire. In the days to come, it'll play out as you force me, and I resist. You're ruthless, and I'm vicious. A pure hate-fueled storyline. I just love shipping this kind of love-hate drama. It's a pity their ending is so bad. One dead, one injured, which is still pretty much in character. The big villain is an illegitimate son of the Jang family who isn't favored because of his upbringing. He's still an autistic boy right now. The humiliation he suffers today will surely be repaid in the future. How could I ever do something like drugging someone? I was mostly sober. My hand trembled, and the red wine poured entirely into Jang Yuchuan's collar. He shivered from the cold, his breath catching. His deep-set eyes stared at me stubbornly and with humiliation. His lower lip was bitten hard by him. The fair neck was covered in deep red marks. The thin shirt became transparent, looking disheveled. I got off Jang Yuchuan and cleared my throat lightly. I'm drunk. You should go. After Jang Yuchuan left, I sorted out my thoughts since the ending between me and him in the future was so tragic. I should stay far away from him. But once I got to know someone I'd barely noticed before, I kept running into them. Later, I learned that he and Zaoi Jing were in the same major but different classes, since I was always following behind Shi Jing. That's why I kept running into Jang Yuchuan. What are you looking at? Zoe Jing was lying on the edge of the pool, following my gaze. Jang Yuchuan was soaking in the corner at the far end of the pool. He seemed to have seen me, although the distance was a bit far and I couldn't see clearly. I just felt that his calm, unfathomable eyes seemed to tremble slightly. Then he lowered his gaze again. The university swimming class was pretty lax, and everyone was clustered together in twos and threes, soaking in the water. Due to Jang Yuchuan's reclusive nature, no one was with him. I withdrew my gaze, wasn't looking at anything. Zhao Jing narrowed his eyes, his gaze falling on Zhang Yuchuan. Him. He's the illegitimate son of the Zhang family, not favored. I heard you provoked him at the bar that day. Nothing unexpected happened, right? No, no. Zhao Jing looked at me inquisitively, his expression shifting into a smile. He rubbed against the fingers of my hand, braced on the riverbank. Come down and play with me. Stop flirting already. Shi Jing, you belong to the heroine. It's okay. Although the male lead and the female supporting character are childhood sweethearts, Zhao Jing hasn't experienced his first stirrings of love yet, and he has absolutely no feelings for the female supporting character. He flirts without even realizing it. The male lead belongs to the female lead. So, as for the female supporting character, you should just be locked together with the big villain. So, Zhao Jing was the male lead. In the plot that flashed through her mind on the day she awakened, Zhao Jing wavered between me and the female lead, indulging in extreme ambiguity. The price of our four-person love quadrangle was devastatingly high. I curled my fingers slightly. No thank you. Zhang Yuchuan had to keep his distance, and Joy Jing had to keep his distance, too. I got up and went to swim somewhere else, but then I heard some commotion in the distance. Well, isn't this the Zhang family's illegitimate son? Why did you come to class today? Did you take care of what I asked you to do that day? Why aren't you saying anything? Cat got your tongue. Several people surrounded Zhang Yuchuan. Zhang Yuchuan slightly clenched his hands at his sides, his gaze carrying a cold arrogance that kept strangers at a distance. His shoulders were slightly hunched from fear, like a thin little white poplar. Move aside, the few men sneered. Not a chance. Do you know who you've offended? A few people were pushing and shoving. Somehow, Zhang Yuchuan suddenly showed a pained expression on his face before being pushed down. His gaze seemed to linger on me for 2 seconds. It seemed like he couldn't swim. After flailing in the water a couple of times, he sank to the bottom of the pool. The people on the shore had no idea at all how serious the problem was. The water surface was becoming increasingly calm. I hurried over and grabbed Zhang Yuchuan in the water. His eyes were tightly shut, and his whole face was cold and aloof. A figure model, so handsome, he looked like he'd been sealed in an ice coffin. The lean muscle on his upper body was just right, beautiful, and taut, leaving me momentarily dazzled. Feeling someone tug at him, he slowly opened his eyes, then closed them again. His expression was one of extreme pain. He must have been having trouble breathing. After a few more shallow flutters, he pressed his entire body against me. I couldn't care about anything else anymore. I pinched his chin, pressed my lips to his, and slowly breathed air into him. Zhang Yukin's eyelids suddenly trembled. His introverted nature made him want to hide a bit. I held the back of his head and gave him a full breath of air. After it was over, I let go of him, and we each surfaced from the water. Zhang Yuchuan coughed a few times, his wet eyelashes drooping, his chest heaving violently. Whether it was out of anger or embarrassment, I couldn't tell. The few people on the bank gathered around. Suja, are you okay? Why did you save him? I jumped up. What grudge? What hatred? If he really dies here today, none of you will get away. Isn't he able to swim? If not, why come to class? Shut up. Zhang Yuchuan barely moved. Maybe he was only mediocre at swimming. Besides, with his reclusive personality, if he could climb up by himself, he wouldn't have needed anyone to rescue him, let alone letting me give him a hard kiss. But his lips were quite soft, and he didn't even respond. Definitely a pure-hearted young guy. I rubbed my wet lips with the knuckle of my finger. Oh, already starting to reminisce. No way. Why is the plot different? I remember in the original story, Zhang Yuchuan climbed up in a sorry state, and the female antagonist stood on the shore, mocking him harshly. Yeah, and last time at the bar, the two of them didn't even have a bang-bang moment. Zhang Yuchuan can swim. What happened to him just now? What's going on with the male lead? Why is he looking at the female supporting character with that kind of gaze? It's strange. The female supporting character, who has always been clinging to him, saved someone else. Wait, hasn't the male lead not yet realized his feelings? I turned around and saw Zhao Jing staring at me. His gaze was calm, but for some reason, it felt a little eerie. I quickly left. I distanced myself directly from my relationship with Zhao Jing. Half a month later, late at night, a friend invited me out for a drink. Before I even entered the private room, I could hear Zhao Jing's voice coming from inside. He was actually there, too. Brother Ho, I don't know what kind of disagreement you are having. I'm not joking. I'm just angry that he went to save someone unrelated in such a dangerous situation and then left without saying a word after rescuing them. So concerned. It seems. TSK, don't talk nonsense. I just see her as a little sister. Whether it's a real sister or a romantic sister, we outsiders can see it clearly. Don't talk nonsense. I'm not an animal. See, I told you Jing is just worried. He doesn't like the female supporting character at all. Of course. Zhao Jing belongs only to the female lead in this lifetime. Female supporting character. Step aside, However, I don't believe the male lead hasn't noticed the female supporting character's feelings at all. If he didn't subtly respond, his friends wouldn't have teased him, not rejecting or clarifying. What else could it be if not keeping his options open? Is there something wrong with the person upstairs? It's clearly just concern for his younger sister, who told the vicious, supporting female character to overthink things and be so self-important. The bullet comments were right, so I turned around and left. I went back to school with nothing else to do. I strolled slowly around the track field. I'm feeling a bit down first. My ending in the original work was actually so tragic. Second, after secretly admiring Zhao Jing for so many years, it turns out we truly have no fate. Without realizing it, I've walked all the way to the basketball court. There's someone playing basketball here. The movements are quite slow, casting a long shadow on the ground. Tiptoe, shoot, three-pointer. It's actually Jang Yuchan. That's understandable. He didn't want to interact with people, so he could only come to play basketball in the middle of the night. He didn't play with the unrestrained boldness of an ordinary teenager. Although his movements were proper and graceful, they still seemed somewhat constrained. The hair hanging low on his forehead was damp with sweat. He took off his narrow-framed, black glasses. Bending down, he pulled up the hem of his shirt to wipe away the sweat. His movements as restrained as when he played ball. The exposed section of his lean, slender waist not only seemed somewhat suggestive, but also a bit adorable. It seems that in the original work, a lot of the steamy scenes happened between me and him. How did I end up hooking my legs around his waist? I kept in mind that I needed to stay away from Jang Yuchan, quickly shook the junk out of my head and was about to leave, but by chance, I stepped on an aluminum can on the ground in the quiet of the night. It sounded especially loud. Who's there? Jang Yuchan looked over wearily. Just passing by. I'll leave right away. Wait. He and I spoke at the same time. Jang Yuchuan seemed to be contemplating something, looking at me with nervous hesitation. Suddenly, he knelt on the ground, clutching the chest in agony. That long-standing, placid, timid face now showed an expression of pain, eyes half open, dazed with agony, breathing so rapidly, like a dying fish, clear and distinct in the night, each gasp striking my heart. I didn't know whether I was going to save him or whether the way he looked in pain inexplicably seemed very attractive to me. I was driven to run over. I helped him up. Jang Yuchuan, what's wrong with you? He leaned against me, and in his half-open eyes, I was doubled in his blurred vision. Beads of sweat rolled down his cheeks. His wrist rested weakly on me. He stared at me for a moment, as if he had fully prepared himself mentally. He struggled to utter sorry. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he pulled my neck down, and his lips pressed against mine. It was an exceptionally clean, warm, and moist kiss. Jang Yuchuan stayed obediently close to me, breathing lightly in small gasps until his breathing steadied. I was completely stunned. Before I could react, I heard scattered voices not far away. Holy! Looking up. I saw a group of people and Joy Jing with a gloomy expression. What are you doing? Jing's gaze darkened, his words not sharp, but carrying the oppressive aura befitting the male lead. Shirao you didn't go to the party because you were flirting with someone. Someone quickly started teasing. but was immediately met with Zeoi Jing's cold glare. Jang Yuchuan tightened his grip on my sleeve. Stay at the beginning, avoiding the gaze of others. But the distance between us didn't increase. Instead, it decreased, making us look even closer. A faint blush on the ears added to the strange atmosphere. I frowned. You've scared him. This is hilarious. The villain has a condition where he can only stay alive by getting close to the female supporting character whose forcing whom is still up for debate, even though it's different from the original plot. And the villain suddenly gets sick for no reason. I'm totally hooked on this. He actually figured out how to force a kiss all on his own, but he did it so obediently, scared and shy, even hiding in her arms. Usually, it's the guy hugging the green tea girl and telling his girlfriend, "You scared her." Seeing it reversed feels so satisfying. This is what we strong women should be watching. The male lead's gaze. I really don't think it looks like he has no feelings for the supporting female character. Supporting female character. Can you disappear first and wait for the female lead to appear? I'm really out of ideas. Jang Yuchuan. And I stood up. He looked at Zeoi Jing through his glasses with a hint of timidity, yet also containing a possessiveness I hadn't noticed. It was disgust. It was provocation. He's just an illegitimate child. Zeoi Jing paused. No matter how much you're acting up, Dan Titi mix with him. I don't care. I felt the hem of my clothes being pulled tighter again. Zeoi Jing also lifted his gaze at once, staring at me in stunned silence. You Dan Titi care. Don't tell me you don't care about me either, I said in confusion. Aren't you my older brother? Why would I care who I'm with? Zeoi Jing was left speechless for a moment. I just don't want to see you with someone like that. Not only me, but Uncle Sue wouldn't agree either. You're overthinking it a bit. My dad will respect all my wishes, brother. Under Zeoi Jing's somewhat pale expression, I pulled Jang Yuan away. Jang Yuchuan followed behind me. The hesitant look was somewhat amusing. Yes, sorry. Sorry for what? I stared into his eyes. Step by step, I moved closer to him, forcing him to retreat. His eyes blinked lightly, his words stumbling, filled with nervousness. Say it. What are you sorry for? Why aren't you speaking? I kissed you. Why did you kiss me? My gaze shifted from his eyes to his mouth. He, of course, noticed the change in my gaze and became even more flustered. Do you like me? I backed him into a corner. Jang Yuchuan certainly doesn't like me, but I was deliberately teasing him. Upon hearing my question, he froze for a second or two. Then his lips quivered, his gaze drifted, and a faint blush spread across his cheeks. He even turned halfway around to avoid my gaze. He wanted to flee, but didn't dare take a step. The reclusive villain was facing the wall in self-reflection, so adorable that even his glasses seemed to glow with a hint of pink. I grabbed his shoulders and pushed him against the wall, took another step forward, feigning seriousness. Tell me, why did you kiss me? Do you like me? Jang Yuan had nowhere to run and could only lower his head like an effervescent tablet, bubbling with nervousness. I pinched his chin and lifted Jang Yuchuan's head because I used a bit of force. Even his chin turned red. Say it. Do you like me? Jang Yuan stammered. I like you. Excellent. Then say it. Jang Yuchuan kissed Suyu today because he likes her super incredibly explosively and will never bully her, never take revenge on her, and will never hurt her no matter what happens. Make him swear an oath so he won't come after me in the future. But coercion seems to be in my nature. I think I understand what it feels like to bully someone to tears. For a quiet academic like Jang Yuchuan, long and complex sentences might be the biggest challenge he faces. He finished speaking haltingly. Jang Yuchuan today kissed Sue because he's super incredibly explosively like Suyu and will never bully her, never take revenge on her no matter what happens. Will never hurt her. A tear happened to slip down from behind the frame, and the eyes behind the lenses grew misty. I wiped it away with my finger and leaned close to his ear. That's amazing. Next time, remember to use your tongue when you kiss me. Your kiss was too plain. Jang Yuchuan felt a wave of heat by his ear, his entire body stiffening uncontrollably. Oh my God, the supporting female character is so seductive. What kind of bold words are these? Jang Yuchan is so flushed he's about to evaporate. Imagine their intimate contact in the future, with the villain covering his face while the female lead rides and moves on top. Possibly, and once the villain's personality improves, he'll definitely flip over and pin her down. Ever since I learned that Jang Yuchan must have intimate contact with me to survive, I've noticed him appearing around me frequently. He never greets me, just secretly watches. Caught by me, he would immediately avert his gaze, lower his head, and pretend nothing happened. I ignore him too, just let an invisible rope lead him, tethering him to the small space beside me when he needs it. He comes to me for the antidote. We don't disturb each other when it's not necessary. I think this is the best solution. Between us in the dance elective class, Jang Yuchuan was unexpectedly there, too. Duan Chang is the teacher for this course, known for being strict. Jang Yuchuan didn't choose this class. So, what's he doing here? I danced lazily, my hands resting on my partner's shoulders, peeking over at Jang Yuchuan. He stood awkwardly in the corner. The blue classical dance costume simply outlined his waistline. Tall and slender, but not weak-looking. He removed his frame glasses, his slightly hooded, beautiful eyes quietly observing everything around him. When he looked at me, his emotions rippled faintly. My partner supported my waist and tilted his head slightly. Why aren't you paying attention? With that, he pulled me toward his side. Jang Yuchuan's eyes always seemed devoid of emotion, but at that moment, I noticed a flicker in his gaze, and he held my eyes for a full 5 seconds. Only then did he look away, lowering his eyelids and pursing his lips slightly. After the dance ended, the teacher came to give feedback. My partner and I generally scored in the lower ranks. After all, we were both second-generation heirs, troublemakers in the teacher's eyes. Not being at the bottom was already considered good. Actually, I don't really care that much. Duan Cheng continued to ramble as usual, then suddenly shifted his gaze to Jang Yuchan. Who are you substituting for? So, it was just a substitute class, although he is an illegitimate child of the Jang family and is bound to be unfavored. There's no need for him to be this short on money, someone whispered, clearly recognizing Jang Yuchan. Jang Yuchuan probably didn't know how strict the teacher of this class was, as he pursed his lips. Teacher, I am the person myself. With such an adorable creature arguing with Duanch, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Duan Cheng shot me a glare. Do you know that in my class having a substitute teacher counts as a 0 with absolutely no room for negotiation? Teacher Duan, I lazily leaned against the leg press bar. Duan Cheng frowned at me, his gaze seeming to wonder what nonsense I was about to spout. He's my friend and wants to join the fizz. Sorry, I'm late. I hadn't finished speaking when a girl suddenly rushed in. She scanned the dance studio and then walked straight up to Jang Yuchan. Sorry, teacher, my friend is on leave. Here's his note. Since I don't have a partner, I asked Jang to be mine. I narrowed my eyes. The girl who came was none other than the female lead, Gai Yuking. Indeed, neither she nor her partner attended this class. Ah, it's our female lead baby. Actually, she had planned to go out with her partner, but before the leave request was even processed, she heard that her partner had taken it upon themselves to find a substitute, worried that the substitute student might get punished. The female lead canceled her plans and rushed over to help out. No wonder the antagonist ended up being drawn to the female lead. Who wouldn't love such a kind-hearted baby? Unlike the supporting female character, who only knows how to laugh when others are in an awkward situation. But the supporting female character seemed to want to help out just now, only to be cut off. She's just a supporting female character. So, of course, she's inferior to the female lead in every way, even in small matters like helping out. Later, everyone will surely like the female lead, and the halo the supporting character gets from her family background will gradually fade. No wonder she becomes so jealous later on. Indeed, ever since meeting Gaiaching, the people around me have undergone subtle changes. Those who were once close to me will turn to her instead. But as long as she doesn't provoke me first, I won't provoke her. I am not the jealous type. Dwayne chided. Why didn't you submit the leave slip in advance? She glanced at Jang Yuchuan. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and get into position. Jang Yuchuan was pulled by Gai Yuqing, who grabbed his wrist. I indifferently averted my gaze and tugged at my partner's clothes. Let's go practice dancing. My partner placed a hand on my shoulder and lowered his head. Miss Sue, why do you look so pale? Shut up. I jabbed him with my elbow. My partner chuckled. Just talk. No need to get handsy. Classmate Su Jangyuchan behind me suddenly called out to me. Thank you, he said, looking into my eyes. What? Jang Yuchuan pondered for a moment. Just now you wanted to help me. I heard it. I was taken aback and suddenly felt my face grow warm. Oh, it's nothing. No need to thank me. I thought Jang Yuchuan would leave after saying that to go find the female lead he longed for, but couldn't have to dance with her. Who knew he would stand there staring at me blankly until the tips of his ears turned red and his breathing grew a bit heavy in the silence. It felt as if even my heartbeat had quickened. Could he be having another episode? Jang Yuchuan then turned to look at my partner. Classmate, may I switch with you? As expected, this illness drives one to speak up to a troublemaker. Why? I smiled at Jang Yuchuan. You want to change my partner for no reason. You have to give me a reason. Jang Yuchuan blinked, staring at my nose. You and I, what I said that night was true. He clenched his knuckles, looking a bit nervous. That night, what happened? What did you do? His partner was full of curiosity. Jang Yukin's face turned even redder. If this continues, I'm afraid, before he dies from the pain, effervescent tablet might end up scalding himself to death first. You should go partner with Gu Yuking. I grabbed hold of Jang Yukin's wide sleeve and pulled him toward me under the curious gaze of my partner. I took Jang Yukin's hand and placed it on my waist. Hold me steady. No shaking. I stood on tiptoe and brushed his cheek. He tilted his head to dodge, but I pulled him back by rubbing his ear. Jang Yuchan lowered his head gently, burying it in the crook of my neck. His nose bridge gently brushed against my jawline, and his breathing quickened once more. Although the air conditioning was on in the dance studio, the layers of classical dance attire were numerous, and due to the movement, a thin layer of sweat had formed on my body. I lifted the collar of my clothes and gave it a few gentle shakes. Jang Yuchuan licked his lips. A drop of sweat rolled down his Adam's apple and fell onto my collarbone amidst the haze of shared warmth. Jang Yuchuan's warm breath brushed against my neck. I shrank back slightly and his lips grazed my jawline. His body trembled almost imperceptibly. Is intimate contact supposed to be you two touching in public? Oh my God. In the corner, silent but full of ambiguous tension, I thought intimate contact meant hugging, kissing, and banging. But who knew you two were sniffing and kissing in public? Jang Yuchan, don't think I didn't notice you, secretly flaring your nostrils. You must have enjoyed that scent, didn't you? When you sweat, your body scent disperses even better. Although the female supporting character is malicious, she is truly beautiful. Is this the antidote? This is _an aphrodisiac. In my lifetime, I've seen eroticism in a single drop of sweat. The villain asks for the antidote on the surface, but is actually having the time of his life. Dance class is over. I tidied up a bit and went home. Coincidentally, at that moment, Zeoi Jing, who rarely contacted me, sent me a message asking what I was doing. I simply ignored it. The barrage was getting lively at this point. In the past, the female supporting character would have eagerly followed along. But lately, for some reason, she stopped being so clingy. Have you all forgotten? In the original story, after the female supporting character met the villain, she got distracted and started a forced love affair, sometimes even kidnapping him in the middle of the night to do all sorts of things, venting her dissatisfaction with the male lead onto the villain. Me. Am I really that much of a troublemaker? But it's really nice to sleep with such a beauty. I wish I could swap souls with the villain. Wow. I just checked Jang Yuchan's situation. He got locked in the bathroom by a few people, and it seems his illness has flared up again. What a poor little bitter melon. I'm not surprised at all that he turned dark. My heart skipped a beat, locked up and having a relapse. I immediately sent someone nearby to pick him up. He took a shower in the bathroom after class. So, he probably hasn't left yet. Go bring him back to maintain my perverted persona and fool the live chat. I even pretended to be serious and had a box of condoms delivered to the door. In less than half an hour, the driver brought Jang Yuchan back and reported that he had been locked up. Had no time to worry about anything else. Jang Yuchuan's condition was unusually off. His hair was still wet, his glasses hung from the collar of his shirt, and his eyes had become hazy from the pain. The lips were stained a moist red from prolonged heat with a blood mark from a bite of teeth. Seeing me, his dazed eyes cleared for a moment, revealing a deeper longing. He was seriously ill. Jang Yuchuan trembled as his hands touched my shoulders, gripping tightly, but he had almost no experience in romantic relationships between men and women. He leaned over beside my face, his bitten and bleeding mouth opening, his brows furrowing in pain. "Classmate Sue, can I have a kiss?" I said. "No. What would you do?" Then, so polite, I tilted my head to tease him. Jang Yuchan was taken aback. He was about to let go of me in frustration, but a dull ache struck his chest again. He looked into my eyes, his rapidly blinking eyelids a shy evasion. I'll open my mouth and stick out my tongue. Getting him to say a single word was already difficult, let alone such flirtatious remarks. I rewardingly pinched his earlobe. "Sister, check it." Jang Yuchan's lips were very warm, with a faint taste of blood. He closed his eyes like a patient who had received medicine, his wildly beating heart finally calming down. His intoxicated appearance, with his slightly trembling body, involuntarily pressed closer. Some secretly passionate academic achievers. They appear quiet and don't speak much on the surface, but in reality, they learn things faster than the teacher. They can even apply what they've learned to other situations. Jang Yuchan's body was burning hot, making it uncomfortable to be near him with damp sweat soaking the skin where they touched effervescent tablet. "Classmate, you're burning up. Do you have a fever?" "I don't." Jang Yuchuan, who had found some relief, felt a bit embarrassed to look at me. He covered his eyes, his voice muffled. "Hold my hand and place it over your heart." "I'm sorry." "Sue, sorry for what?" Jang Yuchuan's voice trembled slightly. "You probably won't believe it, but my heart is aching, and I must kiss you." If I didn't know the context, I'd think he was saying something deeply affectionate, but knowing the context, I felt no burden in teasing him. I wrapped my arms around his neck. He responded with a couple of prefunctor, "I believe you. So, let's just kiss more." Jang Yuchuan stared blankly, his eyes wide open, but I didn't give him time to process it. I grabbed his neck and kissed him again. After all, he's a grown man. His voice was muffled in the kiss, his diamond hidden in his pants, making it uncomfortable. I am, after all, the villainous supporting female character, though I've restrained myself since awakening, but with such a temperament the hands that stir up trouble just love to enforce things. "Don't you think you can walk away like this?" I laughed at him for having no self-awareness of his own abilities. I hooked Jang Yuchuan into the bathroom, caught between fire and ice. Both of us were drenched. Yuchuan's voice carried a hint of reluctant sobbing. The inner torment made him bury his face deeply into my shoulder, his damp breath seeping through the thin fabric to touch my skin directly. "Don't look." Then beg me, "Call me sister." No, being controlled by a woman you don't like, forced yet compelled to endure it. I regained a shred of sanity on the edge of my frantic probing. Seems like I went too far. How should I wrap this up? Before I could finish thinking about this, the bathroom door suddenly opened. 6 pairs of eyes met. Zhao Jing's eyes were ablaze with fire. This is truly a battlefield of emotions. Now the male lead's charm has plummeted. Those who locked the antagonist in the bathroom were his friends, although he didn't order it. Birds of a feather flocked together. The male lead heard from a friend that the female supporting character had saved the villain and immediately rushed over. The key the female supporting character had given him earlier actually came in handy at this moment. Haha, the person who used to fawn over you is suddenly playing bathroom games. who wouldn't be caught off guard. I stood in front of Zhang Yuchuan. You shu tell me. Zaoi Jing's voice sounded broken. Did he force you? Gisk? I laughed without any restraint. Zoi Jing, you really don't know me at all, do you? Zhang Yuchuan grabbed my wrist, a bit scared. I whispered, let him go. My clothes, they're torn. I look at Zhao Jing. Did you hear that? You should leave now. We still have unfinished business. You, Zoe Jing, comes over to pull Mayu come out with me. This kind of thing can't be handled so hastily. Besides, with all his older brothers in the Zhang family working against him, what kind of future could you possibly have with him? During the struggle, a small box fell out of my pajama pocket. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be the condoms I had bought on a whim to maintain my persona, although I didn't really intend to use it. But at this moment, its appearance spoke volumes without a sound. Actually, I was also afraid it might. Startled, Zhang Yuchuan. I quietly glanced at him. Zhang Yuchuan's hair in front of his forehead was dripping wet. His shirt disheveled from my tugging, hanging loosely on his body. He looked at Zhao Ying through his water-soaked eyelashes. His gaze was heavy, his tone indifferent. Misu, it seems you bought the wrong size. Zhao Ying's figure swayed slightly. Don't you like me anymore? Haha, although I'm a fan of the male lead. Watching the villain get slapped in the face now feels so satisfying. I didn't realize it. Zhang Yuchuan, but your effervescent tablet has a green tea flavor, doesn't it? Is this what they call being secretly flirty? On the surface, they seem indifferent, but deep down, they're off the charts wild. Who remembers the other day when the male and female leads met? They were instantly drawn to each other. The slow motion eye contact alone lasted a good 10 seconds. And now this. Oh no, is this novel just too old-fashioned? Now I can't stand the male lead, no matter how I look at him, who said earlier that the male lead was too naive to realize the female supporting character liked him. Come out and take your beating. Zhao Ying stood at the door looking utterly dejected. Zaoi Jing, hearing me call him, he paused, his dim eyes lighting up a little. Have you come to your senses? I reach out my hand. You don't need to keep the key I gave you before. Give it back to me. Is it really necessary to be so harsh? Harsh? This is my home. I can give it as I please and take it back as I please. What position are you in to criticize me as my brother? Hearing the word brother, Shui Jing closed his eyes in embarrassment. I took back the key and immediately handed it to Zhang Yuchuan. He looked up in surprise. I pinched his cheek. I'm giving you the chance to come to me on your own. What? Don't you want it? Really? Is that okay? Then it's not allowed. I turned around and put the key back in my hand. Zhang Yuchuan grew a bit anxious and took a few steps forward. I raised the key high, switching it from my left hand to my right, then hiding it behind my back. Zhang Yuchuan was actually quite tall, nearly 6 feet 3 inches. If he had wanted to snatch the key, he could have done so long ago, but he stared at the key helplessly, wanting to grab it, but not daring to, his hand reaching out only to pull back. You really are like a little dog, Zhang Yuchuan. Then could you perhaps give me the key and give this little dog a home? Home. That concept seems rather unfamiliar to people like us. I, the vicious supporting female character, grew up in a suffocating family atmosphere. My family pushed me relentlessly to learn various skills. If I failed to complete them, I would face scolding or beatings at best or be locked in a dark room at worst. 1 year, because I didn't win first place in a math competition, my father had someone drag me to a mountain that was still under development. As an illegitimate child, Zhang Yuchuan's situation is no better than mine. His older brothers cannot tolerate him and all wish him dead. In the original story, there was little concept of family during childhood. Later, after marrying Zhang Yuchuan, the home felt nothing like a home and the couple nothing like a couple. I thought my life would just be like this. Unexpectedly, a bug in the plot allowed me to briefly touch it. I shoved the key into Zhang Yuchuan's hand. If you want the key, just take it and give the puppy a home. All right, I'm going to sleep. That room is the guest room. You can sleep there. I quickly ran back to the bedroom unnoticed. Jiang Yuchan held the key and gently pressed it to his lips for a kiss. Although I gave Jiang Yuchan the key to my home, our interactions only increased by a little bit. His home has a curfew, and his older brothers also keep an eye on where he goes every day. Recently, he has been going to the hospital quite often. He probably went to consult a psychologist. The obvious change is when his heart acted. He would no longer stammer and sweat from the pain before speaking. He would smoothly ask, "Classmate Sue, may I kiss you?" Occasionally, there were a few times when he didn't ask and just leaned in to kiss. After kissing, he would blush and say, "Sorry, I just wanted to kiss you." But aside from kissing and touching, sometimes with a bit of my own mischief thrown in, I never went all the way with him. I was afraid that if he turned dark later on, he might blame me for taking his innocence and seek revenge. What would I do then? This was something I overcame with tremendous willpower. Recently, a family in the business circle developed a private yacht and invited everyone in the circle to join. This was also the first time I saw Zhao Jing again in so many days, as expected of the male lead. That face is the standard novel face. However, I will no longer be moved. The Jiang family made an exception and allowed Jiang Yuchuan to attend as well. He wore a rarely seen suit, the shoulders perfectly filling out the garment, a dark red tie meticulously knotted, his slender fingers holding a wine glass. His hair was combed back, revealing a handsome forehead. The lines of his face were clear and smooth, his jawline sharp, still wearing the same narrow black framed glasses. But the impression he gave was completely different, less gloomy, a bit more mature. Our not-so-proper relationship wasn't public, so I didn't greet him, but I could always feel a gaze sticking to me, truly like a puppy, unwilling to leave for even a second. Also present was Gu Yuqing. She is currently in an ambiguous stage with Zhao Jing. She was being urged by several young men from prominent families to play the piano, Gu Yuqing being the kind of innocent and cheerful little son that she has immediately sat down and agreed. I felt bored, so I took a glass of wine and sat in the corner. Guing played the piano very well, and the people around her couldn't stop praising her. Hey, why is Miss Su so uninterested? She used to be the liveliest and always made a scene. Who knows? But you have to admit, Gaiaching is quite impressive. She played even better than Su did last year, completely stealing the spotlight from the young lady. Working hard for over 20 years. Still can't compare to the protagonist's halo. But honestly, I don't really mind that much. Since I was young, I've been pushed to stand at the peak, to be in the spotlight, to be under everyone's gaze, to be watched, to be judged, to be observed. Later, I finally realized that all of this could serve as a perfect contrast to the female lead. It was meant to provoke my jealousy and resentment, thereby driving the plot forward. Now that I have awakened, I no longer cling to any of this. I was quietly drinking my wine when suddenly the power went out. Suddenly darkness enveloped my vision, and I was so frightened that my hands began to tremble. Having been locked in a dark room since childhood, I have a deep fear of the dark. I even need to keep a night light on when I sleep. The wine in the glass spilled out in a messy, dripping manner. Breathing grew increasingly difficult. The menacing darkness clawed at my throat, trapping me in chaos. It felt as though a membrane separated me from the noisy crowd around me. Suddenly, a pair of hands reached out, pulling me into an embrace. Instinctively, I held on tight, my voice trembling with tears as I murmured, hold me tight, take me away, please, I beg you, take me to a place with light." The newcomer whispered soothingly, "All right, don't be afraid, you." My trembling fingers clutched his clothes, my vision blurred, seeing him as my only lifeline. But moments later, why am I still in the darkness? Let go of her. The person beside her seemed to be arguing with someone else. She's afraid of the dark, and right now, she's relying on me. What can you do? Zhao, Ei Jing, get away from her. The person holding me was pushed away by a great force. I immediately lost my support, my body slipping away weakly, but I didn't fall to the ground. Instead, I was steadily caught in an embrace. His scent was not unfamiliar, even quite familiar. It's Jiang Yuchuan. He picked me up in a princess carry, stepping through the darkness, walking step by step toward the light. All right, you can open your eyes now. The observation deck outside and the main hall are not on the same circuit, so the power outage didn't affect it. I sat on the swing chair, lifting my head from Jang Yukin's embrace, and opened my eyes in a state of lingering fear as light gradually seeped in. A tear slid down from my eyelashes. Without the bangs covering his forehead, I could see Jang Yukin's brows slightly furrowed. The corners of his eyes were slightly reddened, and his gaze was fixed intently on me. Sue, are you afraid of the dark? I nodded. Jia Jing, did he just help you? Jang Yuchuan's eyes were very dark, and his expression was always faint. But when he looks at someone seriously, his gaze becomes somewhat intense, making one feel a bit uneasy. I softly hummed in agreement. He treats you so well. Jang Yuchuan exclaimed in a tone that sounded like an evaluation. My mind was a bit muddled, and I instinctively hummed in agreement again. He didn't speak anymore, still looking at me with those dark, heavy eyes, the last flicker of his gaze slipping out from the corners of his lashes. Oh my God, the supporting female character really isn't thinking clearly. Can't she see that Jang Yuchan's sinister, ghostly aura is practically seeping into his bones? That gaze is so unsettling it feels like it could strip you bare with every ahem you utter. His expression darkens further and supporting character. Could you think before you answer that idiotic male lead was actually trying to make the female lead jealous while holding you? He kept glancing at her, and he had already noticed that the outdoor viewing deck wasn't powered off in the original story. Jian Yuchuan was already quite twisted, both loving and hating the supporting character, and now his condition has flared up again, having held back ever since the supporting character was embraced. Another episode of his illness. I glanced at Jang Yuchan, his Adam's apple bobbed, his slowed breathing seeming to buffer the pain, his hand clenched tightly at his side. Truly a future great villain, so capable of enduring. You couldn't tell it all if you didn't look closely. I tugged at his clothes. The wiring in the bedroom should be fine. Shall we go back to the bedroom? Jang Yuchan looked at me for 2 seconds. He responded quite agreeably. All right. Moreover, he actually endured the pain and picked me up again. No need. He didn't respond and carried me all the way back. When he placed me on the bed, he didn't get up quickly. Instead, he maintained a posture with his hands braced on the bed, clearly having reached his limit of endurance. Su Jang Yukin's voice grew, his Adam SS apple bobbing. His breathing trembled slightly as if each breath carried a searing pain. Intense emotions welled up in the depths of his eyes. I wrapped my arms around his neck, pulled him down, and kissed him. Jang Yuchuan trembled for a moment, then quickly got into the rhythm. He carefully captured the air from my mouth, desperately seeking relief from me as if I were medicine. I let him kiss me to ease his pain. After a long while, he finally recovered, but he didn't say he was leaving, and I didn't ask him to go. As if guided by some unseen force, I spoke up. Why don't you stay with me tonight? I'm scared. Okay. When Jang Yuchuan went to take a shower, I had already finished tidying up and slipped under the covers, leaving only a small night light on. Not long after, he emerged wrapped in a bathrobe. His hair was slightly damp, the carefully styled look gone, now hanging down obediently. His glasses had been wiped clean. He walked over, lifted the blanket, and sat down gently. You're so far away from me. Can you come a little closer? He shifted a bit closer to me. Jang Yuchuan, were you watching me the whole time today? So that's why you saw Zaoi Jing hugging me. Actually, I realized later that he wanted to make Guyuking jealous. Thank you for helping me afterward. Jang Yuchan seemed lost and thought again and didn't reply to me for a long time. I blinked. I'm sleepy. Let's go to sleep. Jang Yuchan finally reacted, but instead of lying down, he grabbed my wrist, stopping me from turning over. He rubbed it gently, then tightened his grip. His face flushed, and through his glasses, his once clear eyes now looked misty as they gazed at me. He swallowed hard, mustering all his courage. Classmate Sue, can I sleep with you? His ears were instantly struck by the rapid thumping of his heartbeat. No, All right, then, if I don't sleep, I'll die. Jang Yuchan spoke, softly with a hint of scorching breath, burning my reason, searing my heart. I touched his face and asked gently, if I refuse, I'm afraid you'll be so shy you'll hide under the covers and not dare to move. No, Sue. This was the first time Jang Yuchuan had called my name. He bit his lip, clearly nervous. Don't reject me, please. Well, serve you well. I wonder what kind of development this is. Such a great illness. It makes the coerced act willingly. Keep going until even the shy have exhausted their courage. I pressed Jang Yukin's head down through the quilt, muffling all sounds, breathing, panting the damp sounds of intimacy. It was like covering one's ears to steal a bell, as if doing so would keep someone from feeling shy. After a long while, Jang Yuchuan crawled out from under the quilt. He took another breath of oxygen. The black-framed glasses that had been pressing against my thigh for a long time were not removed. A layer of fog had formed on the lenses with large droplets of water condensing on them, hanging precariously and dripping. Jang Yukin's mouth was red, and his ears were red, too. He spoke slowly, dazedly, and in a murmur. Glasses. They're dirty. This is insane. The autistic, bespectacled man has a unique charm. A whole night of endurance battle left me sore and aching from then on. My grand ninja plan came to an abrupt end. But I thought, after all, I've helped him so much. When the time is right, I'll let him go without any hesitation, without forcing him in any way. But I never expected this day to come so quickly. Just as Jang Yuchan was improving with the help of his psychologist and gradually gaining some influence within his family, he got into a car accident. He collided with a large truck. He was lucky. After lying in the ICU for 2 days, he managed to survive since he was not favored in the Jang family. Few people came to see him. I looked at Jang Yuchuan lying quietly on the hospital bed, my heart aching terribly. I hope he doesn't become disabled. He's still so young, and I haven't had enough of him yet. Lost in wild thoughts, I sent someone to investigate the cause of the accident. The big villain is really too unlucky. It's all because of his brothers. They discovered Jang Yuchan and the female supporting character were together, feared he would climb the social ladder, and conspired with the male lead to plan this car accident. The male lead's character is completely ruined. How come I never realized there were so many lawbreakers in old-fashioned novels before? Sigh. Although the current plot deviates from the original story, there are still a few points that match up. For example, because the villain and the female supporting character got involved, there have been continuous, underhanded actions behind the scenes. The tangled emotions among several people, coupled with a few pure scoundrel brothers among the villains, naturally lead to a tragic ending. The only solution is still separation, fighting each other, not embracing. Reading this, my heart suddenly ached with a dull pain now. Is it time to separate? Is separation really the only way? But perhaps it's for the best. While we still have little emotional attachment to each other, before any major accidents occur, I made up my mind that once Jang Yuchan was discharged from the hospital, I would have a clear talk with him. At the same time, I sent people to investigate Jang Yuchuan's brother and Joy Jing. However, due to the overly powerful legal loopholes in the old-fashioned novel, my people only gathered a portion of the evidence, which was still insufficient to bring them to justice. I began to oppose them in secret. A few months later, Jang Yuchuan was discharged. From the hospital, he could walk, jump, and all his functions were intact as the ultimate villain. There was no way he would die so quickly. After a moment of intimacy, I tentatively spoke up. Be careful when dealing with your brother. I know you're capable, but don't confront him heathen. Jang Yuchan obediently nodded. Don't worry. I gently stroked his soft hair again. Well, we're both going to be very busy in our own family companies from now on. If it's not necessary, we don't have to meet. Have your assistant take good care of you. Of course, if you ever need me, just come find me directly. I didn't dare look at him. Every word I spoke made my heart ache a little more without my help. Jang Yuchuan must have been in even more pain all along. But in the future, if he comes to me for intimate contact, I won't refuse. Are you going to leave me? Zhang Yuchuan's eyes were filled with pain, his beautiful eyes suddenly turning red. Why? What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. We were never clear about what we were doing in the first place. It was just a messy entanglement. Now things are just returning to normal. Didn't I say it? If you ever need it, you can still come. Before I could finish my sentence, Zhang Yuchan suddenly stumbled. He fell to his knees, his brow deeply furrowed, breathing heavily. A layer of mist spread over his bloodshot eyes and large teardrops rolled down. I was terrified and quickly reached out to support him. Zhang Yuchuan, what's wrong with you? Sweat and tears rolled down Zhang Yuchuan's face together. He looked at me, his eyes filled with pain and sorrow. Yet, no matter how much it hurt, his gaze never left my face for a moment, as if he wanted to deeply etch my image into his mind. Suyu, my heart ached so much. The gushing tears fell hot on my hands, and his bloodshot eyes burned with a bitterness that made my heart ache. Zhang Yuchuan said his heart was in pain, but how could it hurt again? I panicked, cupped his face, and pressed my lips to his. I don't want you to be in pain, so I'm willing to kiss you a few more times. But it was completely useless. No matter how much I kissed him, it couldn't ease Zhang Yukin's pain in the slightest. Zhang Yuchuan eventually passed out. Why can't close contact save the villain's life anymore? Then it's over. He won't die right now, will he? Please don't let that happen. Luckily, I noticed the female supporting character has been kissing him all along. Does she not know the villain has this condition? So, how do we solve this problem? Was it right or wrong to part ways with Zhang Yuchan? I don't know the answer to that question. I've never encountered such a difficult problem before, until Zhang Yuan woke up. Does it still hurt? A little, but it's okay. Zhang Yuchuan has calmed down now and speaks obediently. He lowered his gaze. I know you don't like me, and I understand that you want me to leave. I will go. Hearing these words, I didn't feel a sense of relief. Instead, my heart felt heavy. My throat tightened. Okay, but thank you for helping me before this necklace. I made it myself. It's for you. Zhang Yuchan took a necklace out of his pocket and handed it over. It's a very beautiful design. If I remember correctly, the villain installed a tracker inside. Right, I was startled inside, but didn't show it on my face. Time passed second by second. Zhang Yuchuan kept his hand extended. His expression was normal, his eyes innocent, as if it were truly just out of gratitude. I paused briefly, then decisively accepted it. All right, help me put it on. I leaned over, turning my back. Zhang Yuchuan lifted my hair and a cool necklace encircled my neck. In the dressing mirror, not far away, there was a small reflection on Zhang Yukin's glasses, and behind the dazzling glare, his gaze lingered on me with an intense possessiveness, even though his chest still ached. A faint smile curled at the corner of his mouth. I've been carrying that tracker with me all along. I was secretly targeting Zhao Jing while Zhang Yuchan was secretly targeting the Zhang family. After a period of peaceful coexistence, I was kidnapped along with me. Gu Yiqing was also tied up. The kidnapper had a grudge against Sha Yijing, seeing him lingering between me and Guing. He simply kidnapped both of us. From the moment the black hood was put over my head, a wave of sorrow had been enveloping me until I was tied to the chair. The kidnapper took photos of me and Guiwang. Zhao Yijing. One is a childhood sweetheart. The other is a destined encounter. Which one will you choose? Zhao Ying was extremely anxious on the other end of the phone. Don't act rashly. I felt the kidnapper sliding the cold back of the knife across my face. Don't be impulsive. Let the two of us go, and I'll give you however much money you want. Guiying also started shouting angrily. Isn't it ridiculous to let a man decide our fate? Zhaoying doesn't actually like either of us. Whoever ignores him, he goes after them like a fool. Is this right? I remember in the original story, the female lead was so scared she cried. It really is absurd. Zhou Ying only loves himself. In reality, no matter who he saves, he ends up resenting the survivor out of guilt. Don't be afraid. The villain is on his way. Luckily, there's a tracker. He called the police. We absolutely must save Suyu. While the kidnapper was forcing Zhaoying to make a decision, Jang Yuchan and the police quietly arrived. The kidnapper might have sensed something. I wanted to move with Gu Yuking, but the surroundings were already surrounded by the police. I used the nails on the stool to grind the rope. The kidnapper shouted, "Tell the police outside to leave, and I can guarantee they won't die. Otherwise, I'll kill them right now." Jang Yuchuan appeared right at that moment. "Whatever you want. We can talk about it. Just let the person go first." Hearing the familiar voice made me relax a little, but only a little. The kidnapper, following the command from the earpiece, suddenly grabbed me, pressing the knife against my neck. "Don't act rashly." A disgusting laugh echoed in my ear. "You must be Jang Yuchuan from the Jang family, right? Your woman is quite beautiful. Tie your hands and raise them." The kidnapper held me captive, step by step, moving outward. Jang Yuan tied his own hands with rope and raised them high. "Now I want you to kneel." "All right, as long as you don't touch her." Jang Yuchuan slowly knelt down. Tears welled up in my eyes and spilled over. The atmosphere was highly tense. Ignored. Gaiaching maneuvered behind the kidnapper, and along with the stool that had been restraining her, crashed into him, feeling a tremendous impact. I struggled desperately. Jang Yuchuan seized the opportunity to stand up, quickly kicked the kidnapper, and twisted the hand holding the knife. The kidnapper's cry of pain echoed throughout the warehouse as the police burst through the door because his hands were tied. Jang Yuchuan couldn't fully exert himself when the kidnapper was pinned down by the police. His clothes were covered in blood, and the veins on his arm were still gushing blood. I was terrified out of my mind, tears streaming down my face. And to make matters worse, Jang Yuchuan was still smiling as he comforted me. "It's okay, don't cry." After saying that, he closed his eyes and passed out. I stood at the entrance of the emergency room the whole time. I was terrified beyond measure. Emotions pressed down on my heart, tormenting me until my whole body trembled. Why am I so afraid? Why can't I stop crying? Why can't I wipe Jang Yuchan's blood clean? Why is he still bleeding? So much blood, so much blood, so terrifying. Several hours later, the surgery was over. The moment I heard the surgery had gone smoothly, I completely passed out. I seemed to have had a dream. In the dream, all of us were there. I was very mean, constantly bullying Jang Yuchuan. He didn't dare to resist, silently hating me. Later, his illness was cured, and he achieved some success. He was forced to marry me. At that time, my mind was entirely focused on competing with Guy Yuking for attention. Whenever I suffered a setback, I would come back and argue with Jang Yuchuan. Later, I finally recognized the fact that Zhao Jing was being distant and elusive toward me. And from then on, I calmed down. But I noticed, why is Jang Yuchan so gentle towards Gu Yuking? Does he like her? Why do I care so much? Is it because I've fallen for Jang Yuchuan? But why does everyone have to like Gu Yuqing? Why doesn't anyone love me? Rewind to the day Gu Yukin and I were kidnapped together. It was Zhao Yijing and Jang Yuchuan who rescued us together. The rescue was actually quite successful at first. But just as Jang Yuchuan was untying me, the kidnappers suddenly went crazy and charged at us with a knife. Jang Yuchuan took a stab for me. I was terrified. Coincidentally, the dilapidated building collapsed, burying Jang Yuchuan and me. When I was dying, all I could see was Jang Yukin's blood flowing and flowing, never stopping. His lips formed the words, "Don't cry, I didn't make it." And Jang Yuchuan became a vegetable. On the first anniversary of my death, Jang Yuan woke up without any warning. He calmly pulled out his own tube. In all the days of his past slumber, he had known that his wife was no longer there. His heart ached so much from the moment Su Yes gaze followed Joy Jing until now. It had always ached. This heart probably only aches because of him. Who says dying for love is just an ancient legend? Some foolishly die for a love that was never clearly spoken. I have been dreaming this dream for a long time. I also cried for a long time. Su Su Du Xiao, don't cry anymore. Finally escaping from the nightmare, I opened my eyes and saw Jang Yuchan sitting by my bedside within 4 stand. I immediately hugged him. "Are you okay? Where are you hurt? Are you all right?" "I'm fine. It's just that the knife cut an artery, but I got to the hospital in time. So, it's okay. My head rested against Jang Yuchan's chest. I really like you. Jang Yuchuan. No, not just like I love you. Jang Yuchuan paused for a moment and softly replied, Me too. Jang Yuchuan. Does your heart still hurt? Jang Yuchuan gently touched my head. It doesn't hurt anymore. The end extra story. So what we call the original work is actually their past life. That past life was too bitter, so the author recreated the original world, no longer restricting the plot and only gave Jang Yuchan an illness. Who understands how I've been crying nonstop since the part where Yushu had that dream? How could it be so bitter? The past life was truly sour and astringent. Both of them misunderstood that the other liked someone else, wanting to ask but not daring to, and ended up sulking alone, giving rise to a pair of star-crossed lovers. It's quite interesting to think about the villain's illness actually stems from his past life. Whenever he saw Yushu with the male lead, his heart would ache, and the only way to ease the pain was to pin her down and do all sorts of things. Once he felt satisfied, the pain would stop. That's why this setting was created in this lifetime. Yeshui was separated there, and no matter how she kissed, it always hurt. In fact, the villain thought she didn't like him and fell into despair. The kidnapper confessed that his actions were actually planned together with Jang Yukin's brother. From then on, Jang Yuchan sent them in and completely seized real power. Gaia Qing didn't end up with Zhao Ying either. Instead, she freely dated an 18-year-old Diamond College boy without the halo of the male protagonist, Jang Yuchuan, and I joined forces, driving Zhao Ying back step by step, avenging my past grievances. Jang Yuchan will never feel heartache again because my love for him will never fade after hearing this story. What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your ideas in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you.